Imagine a thunderous tremor shaking the Arizona Badlands at dusk, the ground cracking like God himself stomped once, and from the red dust rose a girl 30 feet tall, bronze skin gleaming, black hair whipping like storm clouds, her bare feet crushing sagebrush as she locked eyes on the tiny lone rancher below and spoke in a voice that rattled his ribs. "White man, I have walked 1,000 moons to find you, plant your seed in me." If that vision sets your blood on fire for forbidden frontier desire, smash that subscribe button right now so you never miss the wildest, uncensored tales of the untamed West. Out on the sun-blasted edge of the San Carlos Reservation in 1887, Caleb Whitaker was the last rancher crazy enough to run cattle where Apache war parties still rode. 36, sun-leathered, widowed 5 years by Comanche raiders, he lived alone in a squat adobe with a Henry rifle and a heart half dead. One October evening the sky turned the color of fresh blood, and the wind died without warning. His best mare spooked, cattle bolted, and the earth itself groaned. Caleb stepped outside, rifle ready, only to drop it when the horizon split, and she rose. Tahoma, daughter of an ancient spirit line, grown giant by a medicine man's dying curse meant to protect the people forever. 30 feet of raw, breathtaking woman, muscled like a mountain lion, yet curved like the river bends, wearing nothing but a doeskin skirt and turquoise beads that bounced against breasts big enough to cast their own shadows. She knelt, slow as sunrise, until her face filled Caleb's sky, dark eyes soft as midnight water. "I have crossed deserts in time," she whispered, breath warm as summer rain. "The spirits say only your seed can break the curse and let me walk small again. Will you give it, Cowboy, or do I take it?" Caleb's knees buckled, not from fear, but from a hunger he'd buried since Sarah died. He managed one word: yes. That night the ranch became holy ground. Tahoma lay on her back across the corral, legs stretched to the cottonwoods, gentle as a mother with a child yet trembling with need. Caleb climbed the slope of her thigh like a man ascending a sacred mountain, boots sinking into warm skin softer than any silk. She lifted him in one palm the size of a wagon bed and set him against her breast, heartbeat thundering beneath his chest. He kissed the rise and fall of her, tasting salt and cedar smoke, while her free hand slipped away the doeskin and opened herself to the stars. When he entered her it was careful, reverent, impossible, yet the moment his seed spilled she cried out, and the earth answered. Lightning without clouds, coyotes howling in chorus, the curse unraveling like old rope. She shrank, inch by inch, hour by hour, until dawn found her human-sized, curled naked against his bare chest inside the adobe. 5'8" of fierce Apache beauty, with eyes still older than the mesas. They did not speak of love yet. The West allowed no such softness. Instead they rode together, Tahoma bareback on a paint stallion that somehow accepted her weight, Caleb on his roan. She taught him the hidden springs, the songs that calmed stampeding herds, the places where Apache gold still slept beneath lizard stones. He taught her coffee, the taste of bacon, how to roll a cigarette one-handed. Nights, they burned the sheets until the iron bed frame groaned worse than the earth ever had. Word spread on the wind. The giant squaw now walked small beside the crazy white rancher. Some braves came to challenge. Tahoma broke their lances with a smile and sent them home humbled. Some cowboys came to gawk. Caleb's Henry rifle persuaded them to ride on. Winter came early. Snow dusted the superstitions, and Tahoma discovered cold the way children discover fire. She laughed the first time flakes melted on her tongue, then dragged Caleb into the barn and demanded he warm every inch of her. They made a daughter that storm, conceived against hay bales while the wind screamed like banshees outside. Spring brought green grass and trouble. A railroad baron named Hargrove wanted the valley for tracks and offered Caleb $10,000 to vanish. Caleb spat in the dirt. Hargrove hired gunmen. One dusk 20 riders ringed the ranch, torches high. Tahoma stepped onto the porch barefoot, belly just beginning to swell, and spoke a single Apache word. The sky answered again. She grew, slow and terrible, until she towered once more, 30 feet of righteous fury. One sweep of her arm scattered horses and men like toys. One stomp cracked the earth, and swallowed 3 of the boldest. The rest fled, screaming of devils and giants. Hargrove himself pissed his trousers and signed the deed over the next morning with shaking hands. Years rolled like tumbleweeds. The ranch prospered. Little Sarah, named for Caleb's first wife, had her mother's night black hair and her father's reckless grin. She learned to ride before she walked, to shoot almost as soon, and to sing the old songs that made eagles circle lower. When she was 6, a photographer from back east came begging pictures of the giant Apache family. Tahoma laughed, lifted the man and his bulky camera high enough to photograph the whole valley, then set him down gentle as a kitten. The picture ran in Harper's Weekly, and settlers poured in, some to stare, most to buy Whitaker beef. Caleb built a bigger house, 2 stories with a porch that wrapped all the way around so Tahoma could sit giant or small and still rock her children under the same stars. One night in their 20th year together, Caleb woke to find Tahoma standing naked on the hill, full height again, moonlight silver on her skin. He climbed the old path to her ankle. "The spirit's calling you home," he asked, voice rough. She knelt, cupped him close to her heart. "No, Cowboy. I choose when I grow, when I shrink. Tonight I just wanted to feel the size of the love you gave me." She shrank into his arms, warm and human and his. They made love on the hill with the whole territory watching if it cared to. And 9 months later twin boys arrived, howling like coyotes at their first breath. Old age crept in on cat feet. Caleb's hair went white as fresh snow. Hands trembled stringing barbed wire. But Tahoma stayed ageless, the gift of the broken curse. When the doctor in Tucson said Caleb had weeks, not months, she carried him in her giant palm to the sacred spring she'd shown him, their first month. There she bathed him, sang the songs that once made the earth shake, and whispered, "You planted more than seed in me, Caleb Whitaker. You planted forever." He died at sunset with his head against her breast, small against giant, the way they began. She buried him on the hill where they last lay together, then stood full height and sang one last song that carried his spirit clear to the Milky Way. Tahoma still walks the ranch some nights, sometimes 5'8" in boots and denim, sometimes 30 feet tall when the moon is right, checking cattle, scattering rustlers, rocking grandchildren who never quite believe the stories until grandma grows just enough to prove it. The brand is still a simple W over an Apache medicine wheel, and the deed reads Forever Whitaker. Cowboys who ride for her say if you listen close on quiet evenings, you can hear an old man's laugh on the wind and a woman's voice, deep as canyons, answering, "Come plant your seed in me again, my love." And somewhere out there in the starlit desert, the earth still remembers the night a giant girl asked a lone rancher to save her, and he did, the only way the Wild West ever allowed, with everything he had. So tell me true, partner, from what corner of this wide world are you watching tonight? Drop your state or your country in the comments below. Let the algorithm carry this tale farther than any Apache runner ever rode, and together we'll keep the untamed stories alive. See you on the next ride.